Hi, I'm Miss Haley with the Huntsville-Madison County Public Library, and today I'm going to show you how to make a simple two-prong rainbow loom and how to make a very simple bracelet using that two-prong loom. This is what our finished loom is going to look like. It'll maybe look a little different just because I'm using different supplies, but this is what it'll look like. And what you will need for this is 2 rubber bands. I don't know that it super matters what kind you use. You just want them to be not like stretched out, so not really old rubber bands. But 2 rubber bands, 2 pencils. I like to use pencils that are sharpened, but not like super sharp. So these have been used, they're kind of dull. They probably need to be sharpened further, but they do have the pointed tips. That will help when you're making your rainbow loom piece. So 2 pencils, somewhat sharpened, a piece of cardstock or construction paper, just some scrap. This is just a piece of black that I had left over from another project. That's about half a page, and that's probably about how much you want. You can play around with it though. You just have to get it a certain thickness. Then you need some rainbow loom bands. These are just little stretchy rubber band things. You can either have a multi-pack. If you have a multi-pack, this came with a bigger loom set that I had, or you can buy them pretty cheaply on Amazon and other craft stores in specific colors. So I'm going to be using black and bright pink today. You will also need some C-clips. You can use S-clips too. I prefer C-clips. They're a little smaller, and S-clip will spread it out a little bit more, but some people find S-clips a little easier too. So it really doesn't matter. Just take that into account when you're measuring. We're going to be making a bracelet today, so we'll be measuring it for our wrist. And we want it stretchy enough, big enough that it can stretch over our hand, but not so big that it's going to fall off of our hand. So, some C-clips. To start out with, you are going to take your 2 pencils, and you are going to place a rubber band down here at the bottom. So line them up. You actually want your ends to be even. So just line up your ends so that they're even. That means, in my case, my pencils down here will not be even because they're not quite the same length. And we're going to rubber band them together down here at the base. So kind of right around and above that middle part. So I'm just going to stretch it around, twist, stretch, twist, until that rubber band is tightly around the end there. If you're not very good at doing rubber bands, find somebody who can help you. But you want it to be tight, but not so tight that you can't move your pencils apart. So our next step, I may want to loosen mine a little. Yeah, that's pretty good. If it's too tight, it will break your pencils when you try to move them apart. And that's just something to keep in mind. There we go. Okay, I loosened mine just a little bit. You want to be able to pull them apart with ease without feeling like you're going to snap your pencil in half. So next, we are going to start folding up our paper. I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half this way. It does not have to be super precise. We're just making a shim or a wedge basically to fit between our 2 pencils to hold them. When we rubber band the top part, it's going to hold them apart and let us use them as a loom. Let's see, yeah, I think I want to fold it one more time this way, and then I'm going to start folding just this way. This can take some trial and error as you figure out what is the appropriate thickness for your piece. You don't want it so far apart that your loom bands are going to be super stretched. You just want them kind of not loosely fit, but you want them to fit on there but not be stretched tight, if that makes sense. And I think that might be that might be too big. So you can see that. You can test this. So I've got it between the two. The further down you move it, the more apart they're going to be. But you do want it about halfway down because you need room up at the top for your loom piece. So I'm going to hold it there. I think that's too far apart, but you can test it if you have a loom piece on hand. I don't know, that's not horrible. That's stretched though. Let's do it a little bit less. Let's try that. Because it's going to be sandwiched pretty, that's pretty good. Maybe, can't make up my mind. Maybe I do want it that thick. They're going to be sandwiched pretty tightly with the rubber band. And let's see, that's pretty good. So I just squished it down a little bit more and went with my original. So I don't need all this extra, and we're going to cut that off. So I guess you do need some scissors for this. We're just going to cut it right there. And I'm going to keep holding it. I'm going to start twisting my rubber band around that part. And you want this one, you do want pretty tight, because you need to be able to hold all of that in place. There we go. Alright. Pretty good. Just kind of feeling it and making sure it's snug and that it's not going to slip or move on me. Moving it around so they're not twisted. And there we go. Pull this one pencil up a little bit because they're not quite even. They don't have to be perfect. And that is your 2-prong rainbow loom. So you're already part done. You can stop watching here if you want, if you know how to make a bracelet or a loom piece. You can stop right here, or you can keep watching and see what I'm going to make. It is a super duper simple one. Probably, it might be the easiest loom piece that I know how to make, actually. It's really, really simple. Alright, so we're just going to alternate colors. You can do all one color if you want. You can do more than 2 colors. I'm just going to be alternating mine. So very, very simply, we're going to start, I think I'll start with black. So when we put our first one on, this is the only one you're going to do this to. So none of the rest of them are going to do this, but you're going to put this one on in a figure 8. So we're going to put it on one, and I'm going to twist it and put it on the other so that it's on there. You guys can see that in a figure 8 pattern. Actually, let me switch to pink because my little center thing is black and it's hiding it. All right, so you're going to put it on one. You're going to twist it once and then put it on the other so that there we go, figure 8. And then you're just going to alternate colors, but you're going to put them on regularly. So you're just going to put on like that and slide it down a little, and then the next one. All right, so once you have 3 on there, you're going to, once you have the 3 on there, you're going to pull up this last one. So you're going to take it and you're going to pull it up and over and let it go. So it's going to be just sitting here in the center, and you're going to do the same thing with this other side, up and over, and let it go. All right. Then you're going to load on another one. So you're always working with 3. You're never pulling off if you only have 2 on there. So you get 3 on there. So we have 1, 2, 3. And we're going to pull this guy up and over. And up and over. I'm just using my fingers to do this. You can also use like a crochet hook if you don't have a loom hook. A lot of loom kits come with a loom hook, although if you have a loom kit, you maybe don't need to make your own loom. But there's a couple options. You could use another pencil to slide under there if you're having trouble just using your fingers. You have some options there. So we're just going to keep doing this over and over until we get the length that I need for my loom piece. And the piece is going to build right here, so it's going to start coming off. And I'll go a little bit further before I speed up the camera. Do a little bit more so you can start seeing it coming off. You just push it out of your way, because otherwise it's going to bump up against your centerpiece eventually. So again, I've got 3 on there. I'm going to come up and over, and up and over. I'm not paying a lot of attention to where my pieces land here. Some bracelets, some patterns require that you pay attention to that. This one is not one of those. It will turn out no matter what. But do keep in mind, you might be asked to pay attention to that, depending on the pattern you're trying to do. I found the other day a really cool, like, viper, I think it was called a viper pattern. Also on YouTube, not here. I'm not going to show you how to do that, but it was really hard. But it was really cool, but you had to pay really close attention to where your bands were landing when you pulled them off, which is why it was hard. So again, up and over, up and over. The only thing you have to be careful with this, make sure, so you can see I'm getting the length right here. And I'll just, as I go, I'll kind of push that off to the back so that it comes to the other side of my centerpiece here. One thing you want to make sure of when you're working on this little handmade loom is that you're scooting them down a little bit. There's nothing up here. Some looms that you can buy have a piece up here that protects things from slipping off, because they'll kind of move around up and down. On this, you do have to make sure that you're pushing them down pretty regularly, or you run the risk of accidentally slipping off more than you intended to. And that can be easy to fix, or it can be hard to fix, just depending on how it happens and if you catch it in time. Alright, but I'm going to speed up my video and finish off this bracelet. I'll get it to the end, and then I will show you guys how to attach the C-clip. It's super, super duper easy. Okay, so I have gone about as long as my wrist is. It'll wrap around almost all the way. And that way it will be comfortable. It won't be stretched so tight that it leaves like really bad marks on my wrist. That's something to keep in mind as you're measuring it. You can make these pretty small and have them still fit. It just depends on how stretched you want them to be. They can stretch like even, a lot. But I really want the pattern to be visible too. The more it stretches, the less your pattern will look the way it does when it's coming off your loom. And I've got this really neat fishtail sort of pattern going on that I like a lot. So to finish your bracelet, you need to go 2 longer than what you want it to be. So I want it to finish right here. So I've had 2 more. I'm going to go ahead and just add 1 more. Let's see, let me think about this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and add 1 more. And then 1 more. So right now this one here, that's going to be your end piece. This one that's wrapped around. So ignore these 2. This one right here is going to be your end. So it's pink, and my end down here is also pink. So I want it to, if I want my pattern to be complete, I need to add 1 more black one. That way it'll be pink and black, and they'll continue to alternate all the way around. Although there will be a C-clip in them between, so it won't super matter. So to get this off of here, go ahead and get your C-clip ready. You don't want to have to fumble to open a package when you're also trying to not let your piece unravel. You're going to take it and you're going to pinch it right there where it joins up over the rubber band. So pinch it, pull it off, okay? And you're going to pull out these 2 bands right here. But before you do that, you can go ahead and slide your C-clip through. So you're sliding your C-clip through the last band that's hooked, and that one's going to come out, and then through this other black piece. Don't know how well this is showing up on camera. It's kind of tight work. So like that, and then I'm going to slip out that last band. So those last two that were still wrapped around our loom rather than around themselves, those are going to come out. That's why you need to go 2 more than you need when you finish. So once you have your C-clip on there, you're going to do the same thing with this other end. So you're going to come and you're going to slip these 2 pink ones over. It helps if you stretch them out a little bit. Over the C-clip. My last one won't go on. There we go. And you have a finished bracelet that will sit on your wrist. A finished fishtail bracelet and a homemade rainbow loom. I hope you guys had fun with this craft. We would love to see what kind of bracelets or anything, whatever you want to make. We'd love to see what you come up with. You can send those to us on our Facebook page, just via Messenger, which is Huntsville Madison County Public Library, and we would love to hear from you. Thank you.